It's a celebration dial for a celebration. Thanks for 3,000 subscribers. This is our first Rolex review. Let's talk about this watch. Introduced in 2020 as a celebration of all the interesting Oyster Perpetual dials that were done previously, including the coral red and the nice yellow and the Tiffany blue and all of these wonderful, wonderful colours. Rolex introduced the celebration dial. It looks like a bunch of bubbles or some balloons. It's sometimes called the party dial, but it's great for celebration, and that's what we're doing today. We're celebrating 3,000 subscribers. 3,000 of you weird people have joined this channel. So also big thank you to Fizz Watch Owners Enthusiast Group over on Instagram for letting us borrow this from him. He's a good friend of ours and a channel member, and he's just absolutely an amazing guy, so thank you very much for lending us your wonderful, precious Oyster Perpetual 36. So yes, this is the 36mm variant, and we've had it for a couple weeks. I'm giving it back next week, and honestly, my first thought for our review is, I love it. I'll be honest. When the celebration dial was first released, I was in the camp that was like, what the buggery bollocks is this? That's not very nice. That's very ugly. It's not very Rolex. Ew, ew, and ew. But as I used to work at Rolex AD, seeing it in person, it grew on me. Grew on me the more I saw it over time. And then wearing it as well, I really like it, guys. It's really nice. It's also, weirdly for Rolex, £5,400, which is obviously a lot of money, but this dial variant is the same as any other dial variant for a 36mm Oyster Perpetual, which is very odd because this dial does cost a lot more to produce. Value for money? In your Rolex? Guys, before you say anything, this watch has been discontinued. I was in a Rolex AD yesterday, Preston's in Guildford. I asked him the question, because obviously it's been massively reported. We've reported it. He confirmed, yes, it has been discontinued. They will not be seeing any more. And yes, it is still on the Rolex website. But get this, Rolex are lazy. They leave stuff on the website for ages until they actually announce the discontinuation. But ADs will not be getting any more in. So stop commenting. It's still on the website. It's gone. It's dead. You're never going to see it if you've got your name down for it and you haven't already got it. So anyway, that's a sidetrack. Let's get through some technicals of this watch first. You're all familiar with the 36mm Oyster Perpetual, but it's got to be done. So in terms of measurements, of course, the watch is 36mm. The lug width is 19mm. It's one of my very few bugbears with the 36mm case. It's got 19mm lug width. It only bothers me because I love 20. I've got lots of 20mm straps. It's not going to bother the vast majority of you. And actually, in terms of the proportions of the bracelet to the case, it works perfectly. I'm just someone who likes changing their straps, so sue me. In terms of the thickness, it's about 11-12mm thick. I'm not gonna clamp down hard because this isn't my watch and it could scratch the watch. So Mars, I'm trying to look after it, okay? It also wears really, really lovely because it's got about a 42mm lug length. So it wears absolutely beautifully, especially on my 6.5-inch wrists. I absolutely love the way this wears. I think it suits me perfectly. It's the perfect size for me. It's just cemented the fact that I want a 36mm Explorer 1 even more. Just genuinely perfect in the way that this wears on my wrist. What do you think?
I think it fits you absolutely perfectly.
Like a glove. In terms of the movement, you'll not be surprised to hear that it has the caliber 3230. It's superlative chronometer rated, -2 +2 seconds a day. It's 100 meters waterproof and also has a power reserve of 70 hours. Nothing to complain about there. Parachrom hairspring, Paraflex shock absorbers. It's got all of that interesting buzzwordy stuff that you'll hear from Rolex all the time. I'd be remiss if I didn't go through it, but it's not the focus, okay? So buzzwords, -2 +2, 100 meters, 70-hour power reserve, goody gumdrops. One area that I do actually think Rolex is falling behind a little bit is the Easy Link. So obviously, Tudor, for example, is another brand within the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation umbrella. Tudor has the T-Fit clasp. T-Fit is a micro adjustment system. It's a full range micro adjust, so it's got numerous phases throughout fully open and fully closed. I believe it's got about 8mm of total adjustment space. Easy Link, by contrast, it's nice that it's there. It's great that it's there. Honestly, if this watch didn't have Easy Link, it would really, really bother me. Easy Link is great, okay? But it's starting to look archaic versus something like T-Fit, because T-Fit is either just open or closed. And it's actually quite a large 5mm adjustment. 5mm can be actually the difference between a watch feeling too big and too loose and also too tight. So 5mm is actually quite a big range. One thing about this watch, obviously, on the Oyster bracelet, I love the Oyster bracelet. Everyone loves the Oyster bracelet. It is the bracelet that has been copied by every brand and their mum, every brand and their mum and their granddad's dogs, cousins, sisters, goldfish. It is so ubiquitous to watches and watch design now, in very much the same way as the Jubilee is. It's just a great bracelet. It's got a great taper. What does it taper down to, actually? That's a good question. Tapers down to about 16. So it tapers down from 19 to 16mm or thereabouts, and honestly, it just wears great. It looks great. It feels great. It's great. Is that fair enough? The crown is another thing. Obviously, it is a screw-down crown, giving you 100 meters waterproofness. I've mentioned that before. At the end of the day, guys, it's an Oyster Perpetual, which for many is the bog standard Rolex. Obviously, it retails at £5,400. You're never going to find it at £5,400 anymore now that it's been discontinued. And the going price on the aftermarket is going upwards and is currently sat at around £11,000–12,000. But I'd be remiss if I was going to talk about wearing a Rolex without talking about the experience of wearing a Rolex. And this is where the review will change up a bit, because I feel like Rolex is at a place in the market, and I always talk about this, where Rolex are often elevated in conversation, but I always advocate for approaching Rolex just like any other watch brand, because their watches are not always something special. They have some stinkers in their collection, and they also have some amazing pieces. But I would be lying to you if I said I didn't wake up in the morning and put this on and it just felt a little bit more special in an entirely ineffable way. I simply can't describe it. There's something about looking down on your wrist and seeing that little crown and the word Rolex and the finishing and how it feels, because it feels exceptional. The build quality is exceptional. Even versus, I think, next to something like an Aquaterra, which is more money than this. It just feels better. Yes, it's simpler. Yes, it's maybe a little bit more industrial, but it just feels better. And there really is something entirely that I can't put my finger on within the wearing experience of this watch that I think is one of the reasons why people love Rolex. Could it be marketing? It's very likely just the marketing. Would I want a Rolex? You're goddamn right. I really, really would. I would ask you to entirely remove the industry practice and the experience people have when they go into showrooms and the reputation that they have for the waiting lists and everything. This is entirely about the watch and the wearing experience, and honestly, it's excellent. And I just want my Explorer 136mm even more now in steel, not steel and gold. Ugh. Terry, have you anything to add?
I never had strong opinions of it when it came out, but seeing it in person and wearing it is a bit of a dream.
It's just fun.
It's great.
It's just like, oh, take it. It's just fun.
And the Tiffany blue with all the circles of colour is gorgeous. And it's a shame that it's discontinued now.
Yeah. It was in the collection for 5 years.
I'd get one.
Me too.
I'd rock it every single day.
I just want an Explorer 1. Guys, if you know someone with an Explorer 1 that they don't want...
I'll take an Explorer 2, please.
Yeah, Terry now wants a Polar Dial Explorer 2. This review was a little bit different because we're reviewing a watch that is a little bit different. So let us know what you thought of it, and me getting slightly more emotional about it. Thank you very much to Mars at the Fears Watch Owners Enthusiast Group. You are amazing for letting us borrow your watch. To everyone watching this video, thank you so much for 3,000 subscribers. That is amazing. I can't believe it was only the end of October we hit 2,000. Now we're already at 3,000. It's going really well. Terry and I are absolutely loving this journey. So honestly, from the bottom of both of our hearts, and Terry, he will be doing a live stream with me soon. Thank you to all of you, especially our channel members on screen now. If you want to join them, click that join button, you know what to do. They are the best people in the world, and all of you, you're amazing too. So thank you very much, and watch yourselves.